Chapter 13, Lesson 4. Most drivers encounter near-miss situations or actual collisions during their driving life. Object. Lists the immediate steps and the follow-up steps to take if a collision occurs. Collisions. If a collision is about to occur, minimize effects by changing speeds or direction to lessen the impact, steering for something soft such as bushes or an open field, avoid trees and parked vehicles. Explain how to avoid or minimize head-on, side impact, or rear-end collisions. Head-on collisions. A head-on collision is which the front end of two vehicles collide, produces the greatest force of impact of any collision. Serious injury or death are more likely to occur in this type of collision than any other. If you are threatened from a head-on collision, brake hard without locking the brakes. Blow the horn and flash the lights. Steer right towards the shoulder. What should you do if you believe that you can't avoid a head-on collision? Rear-end collision. You are at greater risk for rear-end collisions in which the front of one vehicle hits the rear of another at an intersection. If you are threatened with a rear-end collision, tap your brakes as you are slowing. Look for an open front zone. If a collision is unavoidable, release your brakes just before the collision. Brake immediately after the collision to avoid sliding into another traffic lane. These actions can help you avoid being hit from behind. Check your rearview mirror. Maintain a 3-second falling distance. Stop so that you can see the tires of the vehicle ahead. The driver of the white car might find it difficult to avoid being hit. What can the driver of the white car do to minimize the effects of the collision on his passengers? Speed up or slow down. Side impact collision. To avoid or lessen the side impact collision in which the front of one vehicle hits the side of another, brake or accelerate quickly. Blow the horn to alert other drivers, change lanes, and swerve into spaces vacated by the entering vehicle. In case of emergency, many emergency response groups are encouraging cell phone users to enter information about who should be contacted in the case of emergency. Enter the letters ICE in case of emergency before the name of a family member or a close friend in your cell phone directory can help paramedics or doctors contact family members right away in the event of a crash. If you have a collision, if you collide with another vehicle, a pedestrian, or someone's property, you are legally required to follow specific procedures depending on your state's law. Stop immediately. Failure to stop is a serious offense. Move your vehicle to the side of the road. Turn off the ignition. If you damage a parked vehicle, even slightly, try to find the owner. If you cannot, write your name, address, and phone number on a note. Leave the note under a windshield wiper. Notify police. Aid the injured. Call 911 immediately. Never move an injured person unless there is danger of fire or another collision. Administer basic first aid for injuries such as severe bleeding or shock only if you have completed a certified first aid course. Prevent further damage. Use flares or reflectors to warn other traffic. Place them at least 100 feet ahead of the vehicle and 500 feet away from high speeds. You could have another person help by directing vehicles around the collision. Call the police. You must call the police if anyone is injured or killed. Some states require you to call the police for any collision. If there is no obvious injuries to anyone, give police accurate facts. Never argue about who's to blame and never admit blame. Exchange information. You need to give and get from other drivers involved in the collision their name, address, driver's license number, license plates number, insurance car company name, and address. Note the name and address of passengers, the position in which they are sitting, and the extent of their injuries. Getting and giving this information is your responsibility. File necessary reports. Each state requires drivers involved in a collision to file a written report if someone is killed or injured or if property damage exceeds a set amount. Do you know the requirements in your state? You must also produce proof of insurance by showing a card that lists your current insurance coverage or a bond card. Notify your insurance agent promptly. Review. How can you reduce the impact of a head-on collision, a side impact collision, and a rear-end collision? What steps should you take immediately if you are involved in a collision? Chapter 13, Lesson 5. Insurance. If you are involved in a collision, you may find that a largest expense of owning a vehicle is paying for damages you cause. Explain financial responsibility law. Every state has a financial responsibility law, which requires you to prove that you can pay for damages you cause that result in death, injury, or property damage. Vehicle insurance. Insuring your vehicle is a financial responsibility. You buy insurance from a company by paying a premium, a specific amount of money for coverage over a specific period of time. A policy is a written contract between you, the insured, and the insurance company. It includes the terms and conditions of the insurance coverage. There are many different kinds of insurance. Liability insurance covers others when you are at fault in a collision. It provides compensation to the third party involved. Your collision insurance provides coverage to pay the cost of repairs or replacement of your vehicle, minus the deductible. A deductible is the amount you agree to pay towards the repairs or replacement of your vehicle. Some states have a no-fault insurance. Although no-fault insurance works differently from state to state, generally people involved in collisions recover losses and expenses associated with a collision directly from their own insurance company, regardless of who is at fault. These are different types of insurances that you need. The 5 most and least expensive cities for automobile insurance. As you can see, Detroit, Michigan is the highest. And looks like let's see, Eau Claire, Wisconsin might be the lowest. Objective. There's 3 factors that affect the cost of insurance. Insurance rates. A number of factors determine the cost of insurance. Driving record. Drivers with a certain number of convictions for motor violations and collisions pay higher premiums because they are a high risk for collisions. Age. Younger drivers have a proportionally higher number of collisions, thus they have higher premiums. Miles driven. The more miles a vehicle is driven on a regular basis, the greater the premium. Driver's gender. Male drivers tend to pay higher premiums. Historically, statistics have shown that men drive more and have more collisions. Marital status. Married drivers statistically have fewer collisions than unmarried drivers. Types of vehicle. Sports vehicles, some vans, and sports utility vehicles tend to be stolen or vandalized often and cost more to repair. Address. Traffic density in city areas increase the potential for collisions. Therefore, drivers who live in cities pay more for insurance than drivers who live in rural areas. Driver's claim record. Higher and more frequent claims, especially for comprehensive and collision coverage, will usually result in a higher premium. In some cases, the insurance company may simply cancel your policy. Reduce premiums. Most insurance companies reward low-risk drivers with reduced premiums. Premiums are reduced for drivers who have maintained good grades in school and in some cases has successfully completed an approved driver's education program, who have had no claims or convictions for 3 years, and who have vehicles with certain safety features like airbags and anti-theft devices. Review. What is the purpose of automobile insurance? What is the main factors that determine the premium charged for automobile insurance?